Hey again, this is Emily from OptixEQ. I'm going to show a technique that I use when I play a track that I'm not familiar with or going to a different circuit, just to get familiar with how the track plays using the OptixPlot and results chart. So I have pulled up here last year, this is from opening day, and the race I'm going to handicap later in a video is the 5th season stake. And we'll look at that one in depth on a later video. But getting prepared for that, I went back through and I looked at a few days just around the opening of the meet to see how the track played. And of course it was just kind of a small sample size and I looked at a few days, but it does help me when I go to play a track that I don't always play, Laurel, Delaware, some of those ones I don't follow on the daily, but they'll show up in a tournament, for example, and I kind of have to quickly get familiar with them. So this is one of the things that I do. And what I do is I have the plot pulled up, and this is for an 8.5. So I'm just going to look at the route races. We'll only look at the 4 from this day, but I have looked at a few more days just, again, for video time's sake. So the results tab here, this will show us a couple different things. We'll highlight in green the winner, blue second place finisher place, yellow is show, third, and fourth red. So what I'm kind of looking for is, again, taking into consideration the plot just as it is, kind of what this race would set up for, and looking at the results and how it played out. And again, we have the results graph, and this just kind of gives at each point a call where that horse was positioned, and you can scroll over each one. It'll show you lengths behind, distance traveled, feet, everything's here. So you can kind of see where these horses were positioned in the race, where they came from, and again, just to get familiar. So what I see here is horses that are kind of around quadrant 2. This 11, 12, 3, 6. So some pressing type horses. Close to the par line, above the x-axis, starting to move up that y-axis. I just want to look for patterns, see if anything comes out. This happened and was very helpful doing the Meadowlands meet for Hannah. When I did the write-up, I started to notice that all the winners were kind of coming from this area, at least horses that were firing. So I noticed that and just kind of started to pay attention to those horses, upgraded them, look at them a little bit deeper, almost kind of start my handicapping process there. And again, we want to use the surface distance just to see if anything kind of shifts around. So pretty condensed in that area for pressers. Let's look at a few more races. We'll go to the 6th. Again, I'm just going to look at the route races. But of course, you can feel free to look at any of them. Let's go to standard. Standard, just as a reminder, that's current form. Surface distance is pretty self-explanatory. Again, square, close to the lead. So, pretty obvious. No real crazy patterns. Nothing out of the normal. Quadrant 2 does seem to be a lot of action. We kind of expect this horse, right? 6-4, I don't really remember. Somewhere in there. Yeah, quadrant 2 again, looking pretty hot. So, start to pick up on that. That quadrant 2 seems to do really well. Is that a pattern? We have a maiden race here. So, surface distance, not a lot. Let's go to standard, see if this one's worth looking at. Pretty good looking plot. 5 looking good. Yeah, again, squares, which isn't uncommon for optics, but look at this last race here. Try to keep this video short. This is the 5th season from last year. So you look like this horse is going to be out here on the lead, big circle, so likely to get a little tired late. Some condensed, but let's see kind of how these quadrant 2, even these guys kind of hanging around there. Alright. Yeah, so that's going to help me out with my handicapping process. I'm going to probably look at, who is this, the 6? Start looking at some presser types, too. Might be a pattern there, at least just something I want to consider when handicapping a new track, meet that's unfamiliar. And again, we'll look forward to that next video looking at the 5th season.